Harry, let's kick it up and show them all the things that we can do. Let's kick it up together. This is Action and Comics 649, featuring a little known character called Superman. This is part 3 of the Brainiac trilogy. The cover is ridiculously good. The cover is honestly better than the story. And that sounds like a backhanded compliment, but the story is good too. Mr. Brainiac, he has taken over Lenny Luthor's secret lab using his mind control powers. Brainiac himself is actually trapped of sorts. He is stuck in a body that is in a coma, but his mind is still active and more powerful than ever. It is Roy Sternman writing, so we get an avalanche of backstory. Lenny Luthor had captured Brainiac and was wanting to cut him open and find out all about his alien physiology. And then Brainiac's mind woke up and all this happened. We definitively learn here how he is definitely an alien and not just some circus fella. And before this story is out, he will have green skin again. Superman, he has been searching for Brainiac, but has made little progress. All he really has to gun on is his belief that Lenny Luthor is holding Brainiac somewhere. And now Lenny Luthor has vanished from the face of the earth. In fact, he is in his secret lab and is being held prisoner by Brainiac. And so Superman might finally do something towards the story now. That remains my main criticism of this otherwise decent story. Superman has been set up as knowing that there is something going on with Brainiac and Lenny Luthor, but he hasn't done much of any acting upon it. He has been responding to stuff as it happened, and then not actually following through on anything, like not discreetly staking out Lenny Luthor, which would have straight away let him know of the secret lab, and he would find Brainiac inside. The Lenny Luthor versus Brainiac showdown bits are top stuff. Roy Sternman, and I would say the same is true of my favourite writer, Marky Mark G. They both write really compelling bad guys. And it is done not by making them sympathetic or trying to redeem them, but by making them dense and layered and very believable. Maybe that is a big part of why Roy Sternman, writing The Avengers, edited by Marky Mark, as one of the best villain stories ever. And in general, nearly always had fantastic villains in it. We get introduced to a hot woman here, which is great because that was the one thing missing from this story so far. Although that might be because it is sort of sandwiched by Queen Maeve's first appearance in Action and Comics issue 645 and her second appearance in issue 651. The one here, the hot woman, she doesn't gan anywhere, but she has a pencil skirt, so that is great in any comic book. It just takes, in the story overall, it takes far too long to get to Superman coming face to face with Brainiac, or Superman being even aware that Brainiac has this big plan in motion to create himself a new body. And here it is now, his green alien body, still with repulsive facial hair. That's something you've got to admire about the robotic design of Brainiac from before the reboot. No facial hair on that bad boy. Oh, I only just realised this. The bad guy in Starburst, the Kazar crossover, I only just realised like 2 days ago. I think the main bad guy in that story is meant to be modelled after that version of Brainiac I like. Skeletron he is called. Look him up on Google image search. You will find very little pictures of him because he was the bad guy in Starburst. But my belief is that it is Marky Mark dealing another DC love letter at Marvel. It took ages to get here, but it's worth it. Superman versus Brainiac in full force. Just terrific, trippy art. This is perfect. Superman is overwhelmed and defeated by Brainiac. The thing about this story that I guess I have been overlooking while pointing out faults or expectations is that it's not really a story about Superman fighting Brainiac. This is a story about re-establishing Brainiac. It's about restoring Brainiac's stature to that of a major Superman villain rather than a psychic at a circus. Superman defeating him would negate the point somewhat of amping up Brainiac's powers and threat level. And I think that is chiefly why we haven't had the straightforward superhero plotting with Superman's involvement in the story being quite minimal here. This here is some more mean teasing though. Brainiac's spaceship is the spaceship he had when he was the robot version. And arguably, it doesn't make much sense for his ship to look like this if he isn't that design. But who cares, it is a good looking design for his ship. And in the last part of this story, I was disappointed about the ending not being the sequence that I remembered. And I muffed up. And here is that scene that I was talking about. It loses a lot of its impact when a defeated Superman swears to stop Brainiac once and for all, and then he doesn't encounter him again for about a year. It is a great scene and a great ending to an issue though. And this trilogy has an amazing creative team and a lot of promise and potential. And I think it accomplishes what it set out to do. But what it set out to do isn't really what you want out of it. You want this big epic Brainiac story. And what we have is a three-parter about, very literally, reconstructing Brainiac as an enemy. In my mind, you could have done most of this in part 1, and then add parts 2 and 3, expand on Superman fighting Brainiac and getting utterly defeated by and then maybe at the end winning a light victory by chasing him off Earth, but not actually winning any fight with What am I doing advising Roy Sternman and Jorge Perez on how to do a plot from 30 years ago? 7 thumbs up for Action and Comics 649.